Hello, everyone, and welcome to this latest session of Ask Dr. Sharon. I'm Sharon Walt, the Hashimoto Health Coach, and yes, I have a visitor today. This is my cat, Kokanee. Anyways, getting back to this. The whole reason behind the Ask Dr. Sharon sessions is to answer any questions that you might have about autoimmune conditions in general and Hashimoto's in particular. So if you have any of those questions, just put them in the comment section, or you can get in touch with me and I will answer them for you. Also, if you have some questions that are specific to your health issues and you'd rather talk one-on-one about it, then you can book a free 20-minute consultation with me, and I will leave the link to the booking, my booking scheduler at the end of the session. Okay, let's get to it. Now, in our last session, I talked about how important folate is in maintaining good health. So just to very briefly recap here, folate is an essential substrate or nutrient for the process of methylation. And methylation is necessary for so many body functions. These include epigenetic regulation. So in other words, that's like modifying our DNA tags to control genetic expression. Now, again, this might sound a little bit complicated, but genetic expression is basically editing the operating manual for our body system. So it's actually really important. And I can give you a clue when I talk about editing. It means that we can actually change how our genetics are expressed or how they control our body functions. Okay. Other functions that are included are DNA synthesis, so production or replication of our DNA, energy production, detoxification, and fertility. So essentially, methylation affects almost everything in our body, and folate is needed to ensure good methylation. Okay, now we can get folate from our food, but there are groups of people where food sources are not enough. So these would include people with hypothyroidism, including Hashimoto's, people who find it difficult to access good food sources, people with poor gut health, and people who have specific genetic issues that make it difficult to process folate, regardless of how much they're consuming. Okay, so let me explain these in turn. Number one, people with hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's. Now, having a sluggish thyroid results in sluggish production and secretion of all kinds of enzymes, but in particular digestive enzymes such as stomach acid. You may have heard me talk about this heaps of times before, but it is actually quite important and it's very, very fundamental. You need stomach acid, not just for digestion, but also absorption of many essential nutrients such as B vitamins. Now remember, folate is a B vitamin, it's B9, and also zinc. And there's some other ones in there, but I'm looking ones that are specific to the thyroid. So having a sluggish thyroid can affect methylation, which in turn, over time, affects the body processes I discussed previously. And this can explain the many and the disparate different symptoms that people with hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's they experience. Now, is everyone affected the same? No, it's going to depend on the extent of their thyroid dysfunction and to a certain extent, what type of thyroid medication that they might be on. So next group, people who can't access good food. So this can include people from lower socioeconomic groups, those who live in food deserts where they don't have good food anywhere close to them, and the elderly who may belong to any of those groups, but also may find it increasingly difficult just to get out to get the food. Now, increasingly, this may also include people who just refuse to eat nutritious food or don't understand the importance of nutritious food as well. Now, the third group is people with poor gut health. So there are conditions that affect gastrointestinal tract that include, let's say, inflammatory bowel disease, celiac disease, and of course, people with Hashimoto's can also have poor gut health as well, because that is one of the triggers to one of their root causes. And we're finding out too that there are certain medications that can also impair folate absorption. Now, the last group are people who have inherited genetic variations that make it difficult to produce the enzymes required to process folate for methylation. These genetic variations are called SNPs. So SNP stands for single nucleotide polymorphisms. And the common one is MTHFR, which is crucial for methylation. Okay. But there are ways that you can overcome that. And one way of doing that is to supplement folate. Now, before I go on, I just wanted to add something here. How do you know if you have a SNP or a variation in your DNA that's going to make it harder for you to process folate? Well, probably the best way to go about that is, if you can't kind of discern it from your symptoms, is to have a DNA profile done. Now, this is becoming more and more common, and there are many of them that do a very, very good job, especially with some of the common SNPs. So that would be MTHFR and COMT, which is responsible for detoxing estrogens. Okay, so I just want to put that out there, that yes, you can determine how affected you are by this particular SNP. Okay, let's move on here and talk about supplementing folate. So this is if you don't feel that you're getting enough folate from your food, or you belong to any one of those groups. So first thing is that there are different forms of folate supplementation. Now, probably the very most common one is folic acid, which is often added to fortified foods like, flours, grains, so it's in most of the bread. It's also a common supplement for pregnant women to help ensure healthy neurological development of the fetus. It has been hugely successful in this regard. However, folic acid is not an active or bioavailable form of folate, and it needs to be converted in the body. And there are those who have difficulty in this conversion, and that includes those who have the MTHFR SNP. Okay, so that's the one form right there. Now, there are two other forms that are active forms of folate. One is folinic acid, and the other one is, and this is a bit of a mouthful here, it is 5-methyl-THF. They are the active forms of folate, and the second one, the 5-methyl-THF, you can actually get in the form of a supplement. Okay, so this is really good news. It means that people that maybe have the MTHFR SNP can get a more active form of folate. Now, folate does not act on its own, and it has various cofactors that are needed for the methylation pathway. So these include vitamin B12, B6, B2, and zinc. Now, it's important that you have adequate levels of these nutrients before you start supplementing with folate. Now, the good news is that in many cases, a multivitamin or a B complex can be more effective than just adding folate alone or a single nutrient alone, especially in those with common nutrient deficiencies. And these could include vegetarians, smokers, and those with digestive orders. Okay, so that's kind of the take-home message here, is that if you decide that you are going to have a folate supplement, that you need to make sure that you have all of these other nutrients at adequate levels beforehand, or you're going to be running into some problems. Okay, and it's also important to consider a holistic approach. So remember, your health is not necessarily going to depend on one thing. There are lots of things that can interfere with how healthy you are and how your body is going to operate. Of course, one of these, we talk about nutrition. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought there. Let me go back here. Okay, taking a holistic approach. While I would prefer that people would get all of their nutrition from a good food source, sometimes that's not possible. And if you're going to supplement, remember too that it could provide a quick relief to your symptoms, but it may not address the root causes. And you need to address the root causes if you're going to achieve long-term healing and good health. So it means you have to look not only at lifestyle, diet, but lifestyle as well. And probably one of the worst triggers for problems in lifestyle is the amount of stress that you have in your life, and the amount and how consistent it is. Okay, so those need to be addressed. Okay, that's what I want to talk to you about. Folate, the different groups of people that would probably need it, the concerns with the different types of folate. So folic acid can be helpful, but there's groups of people that just cannot process it properly. So you're going to need to look at an active form. And anytime that you are using a supplement, make sure that you have the cofactors. So in this particular case, a very good, which means probably not bought in the drugstore or the supermarket, a very, very good multivitamin is going to be your best bet. Okay, that's what I want to talk about today. Now, those of you that have any specific questions that you would like to ask me about your health. Sorry, I'm just going to put got the banner up, and I'm just going to okay, and put there. I've got the comment up in the comment section. If you've got a problem accessing it, just get in touch with me and we can book a session. And said it's not a hard sell thing at all. I can probably get you on the right track or what the next best step is for healing. Okay, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and until next time, bye for now.